Amazing early bird has some work to do. That's me. All you amazing Mumfords out there. You this guy Smiley with Muppet News Flash. Whew, tired. I got to get out and get some sun today and soak. You always have to try your best to stay alive. Just don't give in. You don't commit suicide. You honor other people's gift of life. You understand what they need to live a balanced life through understanding natural laws, observing, understanding and obeying natural laws and things like that. So, as a human being, being responsible for the gift of life and understanding it, as well as you possibly can. You understand you're not God, okay? And you could spend your whole life trying to understand each aspect. Just see, if you want to play God, you want to understand each aspect of life here on earth. I remember explaining this to people in Eckankar when I was young. And they're still not listening. And oh God, apparently now it looks like the whole goddamn Quorum of the 12 and the Vatican and the Pentagon and the scientists and all the Rhodes Scholars, they were listening to this 12-year-old kid, explain this to people. If I was 12, I might have been younger. Explain this to people, and they still haven't acted upon it, and they're still not intelligent enough to, and they were testing me to see if I was as brilliant as Krishnamurti and Suzuki. And the thing was at the time, I was able to be more in tune to what needed to be said and say it. Because one, I didn't have a big audience of a bunch of genocidal operators that were elitists that want everything their way, and you had to speak gingerly. They would attack everything you say and make it, like Mom had told me, you can't make any predictions, because you make a prediction, they'll do everything to make it look wrong and make themselves look like God, and you look incompetent. And so I could say all the things I needed to say when I was young, and it was right, and boom, like when in Southwood, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Greenspan's an idiot, and I'll tell you why. And then I explained the whole financial future, only mine was better than what they've actually done and are still doing, because mine was based on global unity and global love and understanding and respect of natural laws of the planet and species, and theirs is not. Okay, China doesn't have the monorails, to do things, just in those sufficient spots to get things where it needed to go without affecting the butterfly effect, and the trails, the monorail trains inside the tubes with the, and all the stuff that I saw back in the 90s. And so most of the stuff that I saw for our future, because I'm most significant, most consistent, most correct. I'm the Messiah. I'm the guy like David G. Adamos, David G. John. They muffed it. They dropped the football, and because they're selfish, and there's no if there's no unity, and there's no they completely disregard and disobey natural laws because they're selfish, and it's not time to obey the Lord and live the Lord's Prayer yet. It's not time to listen to Suzuki and Krishnamurti yet. It's everything we have about Selassie is the gospel truth, especially the tribalism and the racism, right? Yeah. And we have tons of evidence to prove that that's not so. Okay, that Selassie never said that. Selassie never said he was God. He never said repatriate back to Africa. He never said that God's people should all go back to God's country. He never said all that bullshit that all these bullshit artists that think with their dick and their mind and their money and their money on their mind and their mind on their money are still doing, right? They're Pharaoh that want everybody to accept their mental slavery so they can come to their great icon museums and say, hey, we're the greatest. And it's like, fuck, you're such assholes, okay? And the men are most responsible, because if you're fucking her, you're affecting her brain activity. Okay, we're not living the Lord's Prayer, so you're not loving her, you're fucking her. And I have to put my hand, my penis in my own hand and talk to the spirit of my second wife just to survive your fuck. Okay. And Rockefeller and Rothschild are collecting all the evidence. They'll gladly kill over me and my grandpa's money and watch you and your Jesus die, Parsons. And because you're scientists that are home invading, child molesting perverts are collecting the brain activity, you think that justifies me being a pervert because they can mask what they're doing, and then they can come and talk to you and say, he's still thinking this, he's a pervert. Now put some more money in the golden collection plate. And you're like, guys, okay, like my sister comes over. It's all Jennifer Lopez. It's all about products. You got to have the right products and go to the right professional. Okay, would we need the right products and the right professional if we didn't have this toxin in the water, if we didn't have that toxin in the air, this extortion gig there, that extortion gig here, that extortion gig there, here extortion gig, there extortion gig, everybody buy my robots and get a drive to your extortion gig on my Tesla bus, and then we'll give you a law that makes you feel safe doing it. If that doesn't happen, we'll give you a robot to keep you safe from your neighbors who can't stop wanting to fuck you. But what about the guy who built the robot? You want to fuck him. The robot will make sure you come on, let's go, comply. You know, and anybody in their right mind can sit down and look and see what we have on TV and what we have anonymous on YouTube and go, okay. And so that's why, I don't have visions planted in my brain of the future, who I'm going to be with. I mean, I get with people and I encourage them. It'd be nice to maybe meet you someday. Will it happen? Will it ever stop? I don't know. Ice, baby. Man, Earl is cool. And so the other people, he'll never make it through this. We'll kill him. He's battling disease because we're poisoning him. And he chooses Earl Parsons, okay, that pervert from Las Cruces, New Mexico, chose to be tortured with the poor people because the linguistics is wrong, the observation, analysis, and processing of natural laws is wrong. Okay, and he wanted to expedite the technology, being able to police the world to save it from the people that use the technology to pimp the world. Okay, and the rest of you chose to be part of the pimp. You chose tribalism, money, and sex. Okay, and bam, slavery. Right there you go. Is we gonna be all right, massa? Is we gonna win, massa? All right, that's you. Okay, and I chose unity, caring, and love, okay, and freedom, and I don't have lightning bolts coming out of my eyes. But Earl, I do have Apple and Aloe, and I've been taking it. I know I'm doing things right and I'm on a good pattern. They have algorithms with this technology. And every time I'm on a good pattern, here comes Patrice to visit. And you need the right products. You need to buy the right products. You need to do this. You need to make right investments. Right investment. I got the right investment, Vika. Right. I got to buy all the right products. Right. And I have to trust all the right professionals. Right. Okay. Why didn't I just take the money from the Temple Set Illuminati right now and totally change my style and then be Jennifer Lopez's talented boyfriend that was under wraps because he was too busy training to be a guru in meditation and yoga and Kamagra, or is it kinetic resistance training? Okay, thanks, Cochise County and the military intel. I'm your Huckleberry World Savers. Okay. Well, Johnny Rango, you look like somebody just walked over your grave. Okay, so, lots of people die. Every day, it's not a front page story. Lots of people die. In China, more than me and Isaac Paul Benegas were ready to deal with emotionally. And the rest of you? Hey, they shouldn't have been fucking so much to try to have bigger armies than all of us to beat us and kill us. And tribalism, money, and sex. Right. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. They can't. Whatever Massa says, they do. When the devil says do something, they jump. How high? How much money you want? How much titty bar? How much booty do you want? Rock Rider carrier at the club? And it's on. That's all that's on TV. Okay. That's all that's on TV. And all the stuff that has anything to do with religion and the stories of religion has a supermodel telling you the real story of the book of Genesis. Okay. Has a creepy CGI monster like from the Grain of Thorns telling you about the book of Revelation. What the real people before Noah's Ark were like and looked like. And you're like, oh, God, damn, they look like you, asshole. They're like you, asshole. No, they're not from a comic book salesman's imagination. They're like you. Greedy, stupid, disobey anything that has logic and reason because of humble faith. They look like you and they act like you. Okay? That's what the people were like before Noah's Ark. And it's obvious that's what's happening right now because the scientists can tell us all about it. Back then, they had all those people, soothsayers, protocols of Zion. She's the psychic. She's the witch doctor. I told the witch doctor, you put the lime in the coconut, you drink them both up. You put the lime in the coconut, you call me in the morning, say, doctor, ain't there nothing I could take? I said, doctor. He's a voodoo doctor. He's a witch doctor. He gives you natural remedies like the sun that saved people from leprosy. But it was very painful detoxing, so they didn't want to do it. So they wanted Barbara Rose Fabre. Remember when I first started work at Southwest Airlines, they told us about carpal tunnel, and they said, carpal tunnel, if you just don't exercise, don't do this, it'll agitate it even more. Right? Well, the guy who was a bodybuilder had his, Franco Colombo type degree in medicine and sports medicine stuff. Told me, no, it's gonna hurt more for like a month. It's gonna hurt like hell, but keep doing your weight training. They took a break. Guys, I've been having lots of total recall here, and that I don't think about, because I'm very into other people. And when I moved into the project, my first week at Southwest Airlines, right, I was supposed to save Bob and Cindy and start help paying them rent and help them get a nicer place, because they took me and Patrick in all summer, right? And I worked, and it was for free. I just had to buy groceries and things like that and stuff. And because the state had me paying Stephanie child support, and Patrick spent most of the time with us, and Patrick was supposed to be with Stephanie during the summer. It was in the little, it was just, it was, I don't know what was going on. It was weird. Okay. But so me and Patrick were there, and I was working and going to school, and I was off from school and, working more hours to try to help us, get our new place and, get going, which we did. We had everything set up. But then during that summer, I got the job at Southwest Airlines, which was going to pay more money than the jobs at the record stores. And it was Fortune 500 company. Mom was all excited. And before he passed away, you got a job at a Fortune 500 company. Or I was like, yeah, I got a job at a fucking airline, whoopee. And so that's how I was. It's like, I'm going to go back to school. I want to teach and I want to coach, because I want to help children just be more intelligent and not be manipulated by selfish people, and be kind when they exercise and not abuse one another, but be healthy and kind with each other, because that's, that's Earl. I'm like King David, right? So, but I spent, okay, you ever watch The Super and all that shit? We lived, Punchy and Patrice lived in the project, and we needed to get them out of the projects because, a lot of bad things were happening. Okay. And I spent the whole week, if you don't show up that week, if you're late, they fire you. You're done. You don't get this better job to get your family out of the projects and your son in a more comfortable life, because your ex-wife flies to the state and gets all your money, and you have to pay her to go to lesbian bars to raise your kid. And Tyler Perry never did a movie about this. Yeah, go figure. You won't read that book again because the ending's just too hard to take? Maybe so. And so, but what if they kill him? Guy's life's eternal and grace is infinite. Okay? It's not I'll be back. It's like, I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places. Wow, that is one of the most beautiful mountain ranges in the whole world. Well, look at those meadows. They're gorgeous. Oh my gosh, when the rains in the desert and the creosote bushes and everything. Oh, Earl loves stuff like that. Of course, life's eternal and grace is infinite. You love everything beautiful from the truth of God's creation, right? Good shelter, faithful women, faithful, loving children, kind, caring children. Of course, you all love stuff. Solomon loves stuff like that. Jesus loves stuff like that. Life's eternal and grace is infinite, right? What Haile Selassie wanted all the mass murdering Africans and Europeans to accept, right? So, yeah, of course, we're perfect, El Pardon Paso, the whole genie Messiah gig there. And so, but, we had these these chairs. Punchy had these cool chairs that were like, kitchen rotating chairs that were soft cushion things and stuff, and could lean back like this. And I had a baseball bat across my lap, and put my feet up on the edge of the couch and sit like that with the door wide open, sitting across the front room, making sure nobody dismantled and took. Because Punchy said, they're gonna take those rims on your truck. Those rims on your mom's truck are nice. They're gonna take those. So I can't afford to have them do that because I can't be late and all that. But Treese had me there watching Corey because you needed someone to watch Corey. So I was on probation. And I didn't tell everybody, because I did not sleep well, and I wasn't in my best for probation at Southwest Airlines, and I never told anybody. Joe Pesci, the super, whatever stuff. But I slept with a baseball bat across my thighs, sitting there, right across from him, parked. Always got the parking spot to where I could see the truck, and pretty much people knew because they see it's a ghetto. It's Louis Krusky or whatever and stuff like that. And they talk, he from the military and he going to college, he's a college boy, and he got a job at Southwest Airlines or whatever, So they know, it's a neighborhood. The barrio, the ghetto is a neighborhood, right? The project. And so I sat there and that was basically it. And that's how I protected my job at Southwest Airlines and getting my family out of the projects. And, so he's sleeping right there. They have guns and knives, and they're badass. And Treese, you don't talk about around black people that way now. They kick your ass, or they kick your ass. Okay. Yeah, I know. And then later, I'm a good person. You're a bad person. You're a pervert and a bad person. I'm a good person. I take care of people. I do all these things. You don't do anything nice. You think you're all that, but you're full of shit, and I don't believe you. Right? And I tell Patrice, you do know David Rockefeller and all these corporations that have us, tribalism, money, sex, and slavery, video recorded my life, and which means you also got video recorded too, because this is a comparison and contrast. This is what Jesus is like. This is what the people Jesus, your mother and your brother and want you are like, right? And so, and I tell people over and over and over again, you're crazy. I just don't believe you. You don't think it's tangible. Okay. That David Rockefeller and other corporations could, since my life story there's lots of evidence about my life story, tons of evidence about my life story, not just in the book of Revelation, but in 5 rabbinic documents and other religious documentation, from Shinto to Hinduism to Buddhism, so on and so forth. If you ever watch Matrix movies, okay. So, you're sitting there, you don't think it's tangible that these people would be studying this guy with all this surveillance equipment they have on the Spike Lee joint with Oprah to rent the train, to it's got to be done, to have the zoot suits, to get the right, to try to win the Oscar for Denzel Washington, and, so you don't think, okay, it's tangible for them to study me my whole life and have more surveillance collected, studied information on my life than anybody else's, because just so happens that the prophecy of my life is in the book of Revelation and 8 other religious documents or more. I'm not sure. I don't care. And so, no, I really don't, because truth is truth and lie is lie. And when you manipulate people with money, you're a fucking pimping liar. And when you are the truth of freedom through faithful love of the Messiah, you're the Messiah. Thank you. You're welcome. And so, I sit there and tell you, so you think what I think is irrational, and I don't believe you, and you're crazy, and you're an egomaniac, and you think that the earth is God, and the word God in the dictionary, or if you look it up in anything with all these major academics and stuff that are supposed to save us from all the whack job Abrahamic religion, mythology believing Christians, you think the planet is God. And if you go look it up with all your academics that are going to solve all our problems with their products, their projects, and their professionals, it says God is an omniscient, omnipotent essence of all life. That's the true meaning of the word. If you look it up in Neil deGrasse Tyson, whateverville, because you can't lie to technology, right? And so that's the true meaning of the word. Other people use it to influence people over invention with mythology, and the biggest invention with mythology that they use is money to sell you products for professionals. So it's all in the Bible and other books too. So you sit there and you go like that, and then you get to, like with the kid at New Mexico State, the wide receiver laughing at me near the bread or whatever all it was, And then I had to tell the quarterback kid, I was like, this is Las Cruces, New Mexico. I ain't trying to impress you to have sex with you. Okay. And if I say something and how I felt and what happened, it's the truth. I have to be able to back it up. I'm correcting technology so we don't get fucked by professionals in the military that make you into the poster child for being a super pimp at the brothel for us buying and selling pornography. Do you understand? Okay. I'd have whooped your ass in any sport you choose, in any way. Pistols, guns, knives, nunchucks, you know. And what do you want on your toast? Pepperoni and sausage, right? Well, Johnny Ringo, it looks like somebody just walked over your grave. Life's eternal and grace is infinite. Okay, figured out, stud. Okay. You're like that. And you're like, hey, I'm showing you respect and saying, hey, you know to stand up for the Lord's Prayer. You know to be one of the 250 of King David. You know what's right and you know what's wrong. You know, loving the women in your family and giving them the truth to help them provide through natural laws and holy covenants is the real deal. You just crazy, man. You sound like those motherfuckers in church that try to get me to try to give them my hard work and my money and my talents. Nunchucks? All right. Boys don't hit back. Okay. So, come here. Okay. So, do you understand? Well, lots of people with the last name Lee pray. And the people that pray the most want freedom the most. And the people that are busy thinking I got to wake up in the morning and try to get to Mars and to Venus. Why do you want to go to Venus? Why do you want to go to Venus? You go in the wrong direction. Hey there, you there. Okay. You can't mine Venus to build a ship to try to go and build some kind of science project to try to go fuck up other people's George Lucas and Ryan Johnson's imaginations. If you go to Venus, you'll just die because you're too close to the sun. You'll burn up. All right, Mercury? Get it? Okay, Apollo? See, they call it Apollo. It's like, but you're going in the wrong direction. Apollo's wings burned up in the sun because was it? I don't know. Was it? Is that? Who? No, I don't know. I don't know. I'm having a philosopher time. Maybe you should have read the Quran. Even though it's messed up by mythology, mass murders for oil corporations, there's still a lot of valid information in it to help you not do the wrong thing when the right thing, when the wrong thing is obvious and the right thing is evident. Yeah. Okay, So no, I'm not concerned or worried. I'm disturbed, they're still doing the World Cup and here in the States where I live in 2026 for philanthropy. I mean, I wouldn't have any objections or anything wrong with you guys getting together and celebrating the good old times through using, getting people across on boats there and our weather is radically different. If you'd accept it, if you'll accept, you don't know what it means to me if you'll accept my love in 2013, right? But I really wouldn't have been paying too much attention. Okay. Because shortly thereafter, if it already hadn't happened, I wasn't paying attention. I was too busy trying to get people to recognize the truth of the Lord's Prayer and share it and live it through the Obama administration. I don't know if Jennifer Lopez was single at that time or not. I wasn't thinking about that. All I was thinking about was he was going to step up and say something and people were going to recognize me. And then we were going to start restoring the Gospels in reality and not mythology and genocidal operations through professionals with products through, so it could be entirely possible. And I wouldn't have to go on to the Tonight Show with Jay Leno and be David Bowie saying I'm having sex with him on. It'd just been like, okay. So Jennifer Lopez is my circuit I'm the first circuit in the circuit board and she's the circuit board and I'm the first circuit in the circuit board and Steve Jobs is jobbing me, right? And so I forgot all about that. Yeah, I just told her recall. And that was my Melina was Jennifer Lynn Lopez and I was just going to be, what are we going to do? More talks, more walks, more feeling. Earl, what? Seems like every time I turn around, you're like taking me out of the shower or doing something like that, and you are putting your penis in and out of my vagina all the time. I swear, everything below the waist is kaput. Stop it. I'd apologize, but you do know that until now, okay. Never know these words until now. No fair at all. No fair at all. I'm not feeling sorry for myself. I'm just going to go over here. I'm fine. It's okay. I'm good. No, yeah, I'm not saying you're not sexually satisfying me, because you are. It's just I can't help myself, sugar pie honey, but it's not my fault. Blame it on all your product placement professionals, Primero I, Living Lord's Prayer Worldwide. Okay? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, Did you bring a friend maybe that we could, me and you and Iggy Azalea, and if you're not in the mood, maybe Iggy is. Yeah, that'd be fun, right? In the event of something happening to me, right? I don't know, You want to share? Because I haven't had sex, but that was 2013. Now it's like Iggy shows in, Earl, it's time to have sex. We're getting a readout from our professionals and their products that you need to stimulate your prostate for a good 10 minutes. Okay, how are we going to do it for 10 minutes? I swear I'm not going to be able to last with 5. Have you seen you? Well, I'll get on top of you and I will I'm still going to ejaculate. Sooner than later, hope it's not later. Maybe the 10 minutes has to be in compliance. Maybe their technology's off because I have a different body than they do, and they've never studied a body like mine before while the planet is healing, because they're not fucking up with their professionalism for selling products. You ever think about that? Okay. So just, get naked, assume the position, take it. I'll just tell you how beautiful it is, and you're an angel sent from heaven, saving my physical life from murder by the devil and Satan. And then I'll tell you, you have the cutest little accent. Oh, you are so cute. Don't you let those biggest dickuses ever talk shit about you and post pictures of you having sex with them to make more money for them, because they think they're money to fuck women because they have no respect for women. And then the children, it affects the children, and they grow up to be assholes like them that put their DNA into you. So you act like, I need this asshole to live because I want to have his children. Understanding wanting to have a man's children, that's absolutely beautiful, girl. But make sure it's a man and not a donkey. Okay? Eeny, beeny, bonky. Donkey died, daddy cried, eeny, beeny, bonky. What the fuck was dad thinking? Man, we're related. And when your child chooses to be a donkey instead of a man, and fuck women instead of love women, and raise children to be fuckers, to be pimps for products, for mental slavery, you cry. Okay. You guys invented Adolf Hitler and Joseph Goebbels and Mengele and Himmler, right? And that lady, the blonde lady, she was one of the most beautiful women there ever, that was having sex with all the prisoners and the stalags. Okay. Because it was hard to survive. And if you party and you fuck it, I live in a place you probably never heard of, Sierra Vista, Arizona, home of Mishrak housing, right? Okay. If you don't skate and you're too broke to shop, so we drink, we pop pills, and we fuck all night. Don't mean to glorify it, but what other options have you given us, all right? Every other day you locking us up. You want to label every black man a thug and every Mexican a criminal, and then there's poor white folks here hurting too. And you do it for my city. Because I was one of the poor white folks, but I was married to a brown folk, right? In Frytown. Downtown, music on the beat. We'd do it for my city. They won't do it for my city, so I'll do it for my city. Not everybody's from a big-ass motherfucking city. This is for all those hometown boys, right? And Ryan wanted to help Zach and the guys out so they could pay their bills to help their family stop being abused by the economic engine of abuse that we all know exists, but we're not supposed to talk about it, or, we get banned from public speaking arenas unless hey, you're a good boy raised by a single mother. You want to become a politician, and you can get freebies at the brothels and freebies at the abortion clinics if she gets loose and tries to follow you home and say, I like you, please take me home. I will be your permanent sex partner. Are you kidding? I'm a politician. I ain't got time for permanent partners. I got parties to go to. I got people to exploit. I got money to make off the sexploitation. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, we know. And they talk about it and brag about it all the time. And then they sit and they tell jokes about it. It's like, if this was a white person doing this, if this was a Republican doing this, here's what would happen. One of the girls I bitch about this shit with lost her tatas. Okay. And that's a shame, but I'm not fucking her. So I can act like I show empathy, but I really don't fucking care. Now, if I was fucking her, then I'd be upset. Right? But since I'm not fucking her, he's just going to have to deal with that because that's the business decision they made, and that's the business decision the fuckers that I fuck and they fuck, and we know that I know that you know that I know the Ralphie boy I know that you want to fuck me in the ass. I get it. Okay, so you ready to get this part in this movie? I have the biggest movie studio in all of Atlanta, Georgia. Right? It's like, wow, I let you show up in my head. Try to stand up and share the Gospels because I was critical of you. But the same thing happened with old Custer. And, Earl, I'm not naive, okay? When you tell somebody the truth and you point out to them beyond a reasonable doubt that they're a liar and they're wrong and what they're doing is selfish and a lie they tell themselves to keep doing wrong and justify it and say it's right, okay? When you take a Custer and you say you need to redeem yourself and honor the Cheyenne people that wanted your family to be good and not bad. Because there was some redeeming qualities they admired and appreciated. The bravery, the fights of the last, the sexuality with George, with all that. And Tom probably fucked all the Cheyenne women stuff too. But they went and mutilated the hell out of Tom because Tom was allegedly, he was the biggest, he was the one that he was the biggest killer. Okay. George stood back because he was going to be president. Okay. Tom was the arm. Like Steve Biko and Nelson Mandela, only not in a good way, in a bad way. Right. And Steve had trouble controlling the arm. George didn't want to control his. Kill them all. Don't let one get away. And Tom's guys would, they'd talk about it in Mary Sandus's book. They'd rape the women, then they would cut the baby out and set it beside the woman out of her womb, and then they'd scalp her private parts, and just horrible things. Tom Custer was not a good guy. And so when I read this article, I thought, wow, he's worried about what's going to happen to all these people in the Middle East that are being exploited by the oil industry. He just might be a decent guy. There just might be someone worth saving up in there. But I was wrong. No, he was wrong. I'm right. He's wrong. Okay. I gave him right. He chose wrong. Okay. Don't say that. Don't sit there and put the wrong on me. Okay. When I'm right and you're wrong and life's eternal and grace is infinite and I see something human there like in Stephen Hawking or Colonel Custer at Fort Huachuca and all that stuff, and I reach out to you and I say, hey, there's, the soul. You're given life by the soul. And you can free the soul from your passions, your mental slavery, and your Stephen Hawking, I'm going to kill God with my ego and replace it with my ego and quantify the universe in my brain. I'm Michio Kaku. I understand Michio Kaku. He's Japanese. Okay? But he's not like Tetsuro Suzuki, just like Tetsuro Suzuki told me about Ken Mashima. Okay? He's Japanese. Oh, yeah. And so it's a tribe. And, they see all Okinawans as cousin killers, and they're on the move. And it's like, son of a bitch. And they want to answer all the questions of all the universe, so everyone will come to them and say, oh, great and powerful Oz, tell us how to save ourselves from becoming flying monkeys. You're already there, so just give in to it. Let it go. Let it go. Freedom. You think that's freedom? Yeah. Being a flying monkey that murders over money and has enough money to tell everybody what to do with monkey and who could be the best flying monkey. And that's your Top Gun Maverick. And that's what you want to be. And that's what you want to pass on to children and not the perfection of the Lord's Prayer. Right. Okay. I'm certain that quantum computing is being fixed and artificial intelligence is an invention, but can reflect actual intelligence when you have the right person reflecting the intelligence. You're welcome. Shine, Earl, shine. I do every day. Physically, we'll see what happens. I'm not as concerned about that as I am about technology having a better reflection of truth and being able to use its capacity to help us share it rapidly because we need it now. Okay? Peace out.